Good evening and happy Wednesday. It is November 9th and welcome to our Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens.
I'm student meteorologist Jordan Frazier. It didn't look to be the nicest day. A lot of overcast skies and even some rain in some of our southern counties, too.
Yeah, some off the coast, even some trying to push its way into Tallahassee. We actually saw some trace rainfall around town here. And really, I think the thing I wanted to rejoice the most about is our high temperature was below average.
It's the first time we can actually say that in a long time. It's been a while since we hit below average. We've always been saying we've been beating the record a lot lately.
Yeah, really. Last week we actually tied or broke 4 separate records, including hitting 90 degrees on Halloween, the latest we had ever done so here in Tallahassee. So again, the coolest temperatures are actually going to be a recurring trend over the next couple of days.
Yeah, we have a cold front pushing its way through our region right now, which is bringing this little bit of rain to our region, but it was much needed too. And it's going to push its way out, going to bring us a lot clearer skies and a lot cooler temperatures, especially for your Veterans Day weekend.
Absolutely, looking fantastic for that. And we'll preview what's going on next week later on in the show. But for now, we have Megan out at the wall with a quick overview of what's to come.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jordan. It is indeed a beautiful sight of weather out there. This is a quick time lapse of what was going on yesterday. We saw a lot of cloud coverage, a little bit of sun peeking in around the afternoon, but it was definitely a gloomy day. But of course, you know, ahead of those cold fronts are always a lot of cloud coverage. So moving on to our current conditions, we see some pretty nice temperatures here in the Big Bend region. Sitting at 68 here in Tallahassee. It's pretty nice, pretty tolerable. 65 in Panama down by the water. 71 up here in Albany. We're seeing scattered cloud coverage, some sun, some moons now because that time change. So moving on to our satellite and radar, we had a lot of activity down here in the Gulf. We saw some scattered storms. That, of course, is what gave us all that cloud coverage up here in Tallahassee. Didn't see much rain. Hoping to see that later, though. We do definitely need some rain here in the Tallahassee region. But tonight's forecast, going to be a cool 47. We have not seen that temperature yet this year. Some drier moving in. Going to be much cooler tonight, so going to get us in that holiday spirit we're all hoping to get in, because it's definitely been not too fluctuating with the temperatures, but 5-mile-an-hour winds, totally tolerable. Like I said, 47 is going to be a beautiful night. You know, got to break out those 1 or 2 jackets that us Floridians keep in our closet. So looking at our weather headlines, cloudy skies going to be moving out, going to cool down to about the average temperature we're used to, and rain earlier next week. I don't know. Back to you, Jake and Jordan.
Thanks so much, Megan. Hard to believe that you just joined the show so recently. She's really good.
Yeah, we actually threw the weather stem camera out your way. That was, of course, something we don't really do a lot around here. But let's talk about what we've experienced with this lack of rainfall over the last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, a lot of lack of rain. We've been, especially in drought kind of situation, especially for much of the southeast. We only had just very trace amount of rain, so not any measurable precipitation. Since October 15th, was it?
Yeah, you may remember that as the day we had homecoming, our game against Wake Forest. We had some rain coming through the area that night, so no measurable rainfall in town for over 3 weeks, which is certainly astounding. A pretty bad drought situation starting to push into the western panhandle, so we really could be using some of these strong cold fronts, of course, assuming we don't get any severe weather with it.
Yes, absolutely, and I was hoping that this low pressure system associated with the cold front would bring us more rain, but sadly it just brought us more like Gulf showers.
Well, hey, for now, at least I guess we'll take the cool temperatures, right?
Yes.
Rainfall will be in our future out a little bit further in advance. But for now, we have Dylan at the wall who is ready to preview the next 7 days.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Jordan. Let's look at it right now. It is 68 degrees. It is beautiful. You can see that moon out because that time change. We can see the dew point at 52, low dew point, low humidity. That's because of that front that we can see coming up later. But that front is on us right now. You can see the temperatures around the region. You see 68 in Tallahassee, 71 in St. Mark's. So in those cooler temperatures, Thomasville 63 being the only oddball out there, because it's just it's an oddball. But you can see that those temperatures are cooler because we're in the night, and we can see. Looking at the dew point, let's spot the front. You can see that gradient of dew point. You can see right here by Perry, you can see it's darker at 63. All the way over in Bainbridge and Marietta, 45 and 44. That's great. You can see that cold front coming through across the region. Even in Carabel, it's coming across from Apalachicola, Carabel, and Perry, and spanning there. And it's bringing those cool, drier temperatures, not a lot of humidity, which is great for us, because if you have frizzy hair or just a lot of hair, you can see that being good. Looking at the dew front, you can the front. You can see that area of high pressure over here. But let's look at this cold front right now. Cold front spanning from the Big Bend region, across Georgia and going off the coast of South Carolina. But behind that cold front, some high pressure, bringing in those drier airs. You can see all this dry air pocket coming down, starting to come into Atlanta, and already made its way through Memphis, but going to come back down to us later in the week. Futurecast going to show those clouds. You see those clouds now going to disappear, just magically disappear because of that cold front coming through and showing us that it's going to be beautiful. And as we move into Friday, that's going to continue to be the same. But here's the thing. As we move into Saturday and later in Friday, you can see these clouds start to come back. So as we look into the weekend coming up on the 5-day, if you're going to go boating on a Thursday, I wish I could go boating on a Thursday because maybe you don't have class. You're going to see some winds coming out, and be careful if you're boating just in case. It's going to be breezy because of that front coming through right now. Tonight, it's going to be great. That dry air is moving in, bringing a 47-degree temperature. 47 is great. I love 47. If you don't like 47, maybe you need to put on a jacket to stay warm. But those winds from the north because of that front coming through right now. Thursday, though, going to be a perfect day. Temperatures are sitting around the average they usually are for this time. But we're going to see a perfect day, a lot of suns. And as we look at that 5-day forecast, we're going to see, starting off that week, great. Thursday, no clouds at all, sunny. Friday, and for Veterans Day, it's going to be a great day for that football game. Going to be opening up at 64 degrees. Now let's head over to Matt with the Southeast.
Thank you very much, Dylan. The Friday 5-day forecast, well, the Friday forecast too looks pretty nice. The rest of the week is looking great too. Let's look at around the Southeast right now. At those current temperatures, because it's kind of a bit of a miss, we have this cold front that's moving through. Not a very strong cold front, but it is knocking those temperatures down just a little bit to a bit more seasonable. And that's been the word of the day here at the studio, and that's seasonable. 68 here in Tallahassee. Let's point out the rest of the state really only getting up to 77 degrees. No 80s across the entire Southeast. That's really nice to see. And then 71 New Orleans. Little Rock, that's a little bit farther behind the front. They're in the 50s at this 6 o'clock hour, just past the 6 o'clock hour. Across much of the Southeast, we like to look at the dew point to see where the drier air is right now. Coming off the Appalachian Mountains, it's a little bit drier up there. Atlanta sitting at 37, Tupelo 38. Kind of the winds, when they do pile off those mountains, the air tends to dry out just a little bit more. So that's why we're seeing, of course, we also have the front and the drier air coming in, moving into our region, 52 in Tallahassee, 44 in Montgomery. So behind it, the drier, the cooler air is starting to move in. Now, we wanted to talk about the 24-hour temperature change. We like to bring up this graphic every once in a while to show you where we were this time yesterday. So we are 4 degrees cooler here in Tallahassee right now than we were this time yesterday. You felt the chill in the air. I had my jacket on earlier, and it was quite nice to have a jacket on. A little bit of a warmer wedge just in here in parts of Georgia and in Alabama, but that's not going to be lasting long. See, behind it, we have a little bit of a decrease in temperatures from this time yesterday. So this is kind of the trend, the overall trend of where we're seeing that. Here in Tallahassee, we're seeing a cool down. So that's something that we like to see indeed. Current winds, we talked about this earlier just a little bit. I know we were touching on that. Behind the front, we get those northerly wind component, 12 Tupelo, 6 Montgomery. This is what we like to see. Calm here in Tallahassee right now, but we will likely see winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour the next couple of days, bringing in the cooler temperature. When you have wind kind of blowing over from cooler to warmer, it kind of transports the cooler temperature into our region. So this is something that we like to see if you like the cool weather, or at least the more seasonable weather. Satellite and radar showing our big frontal system. It's kind of a mix of a frontal system and some tropical air moving through. Kind of a mess, but that's going to start clearing out over the next couple of days. It's going to be a gorgeous day tomorrow, clearing out nicely. Watches, warnings, advisories, a couple of rip current statements across the coast. We've been seeing the winds whipping from the Atlantic Ocean into the east coast of Florida for some time now, about a week or two, and that's pretty much sticking up here as well. Some freeze watches and warnings farther up. Nothing down here in Tallahassee, though. We're looking nice and calm in terms of winds and watches and warnings. We'd like to touch on the drought. We had a couple of trace measurements of rain. Look at this. Georgia and parts of Alabama, they're sitting in severe drought right now. They need the rain. They need these frontal systems to come through and usher in the rain. Hopefully not severe weather, but rain, especially in a lot of these counties farther north of us. Here right now, we're okay. We're just on the outside of those moderate drought conditions. Now, we got the Futurecast radar. That's not necessary. We're not seeing anything on the Futurecast, especially for the next couple of days. But really, I want to focus on day 2 tomorrow. Look, 76 degrees, gorgeous sunny conditions. Jordan, what else do you have to tell us about this weather?
I love to see all those suns everywhere, and I'm so glad to say that there's no severe weather reported throughout the nation. But for now, I'm actually going to talk about when there actually was some severe weather with this day in history. Today, in 1926, a tornado in Charles County of southern Maryland killed 17 people, which is absolutely crazy because tornadoes are very strong storms associated with lots of heavy thunderstorms. Back in 1982, 7 tornadoes that same day touched down in Southern California, 3 of which were actually waterspouts. And a waterspout is a tornado that forms over water and tends to be just a threat to marine life and boaters outside. But all 3 of these waterspouts actually made landfall and continued on as a tornado. The places where it made landfall was Point Mugu, Malibu, and Long Beach. And actually, the Long Beach tornado traveled inland about 10 miles, causing much damage. Normally, a tornado only lasts for about a couple of minutes to maybe even an hour for some of the most severe tornadoes, and they only travel about a couple of miles, so that's certainly a significant one. In 1988, thunderstorms developing ahead of a strong cold front produced strong, severe weather in Oklahoma and Indiana, and hail of measurable length of about 2 inches of hail. But luckily, we don't have to worry about any bad weather in our region, and Jake is actually going to talk to us more about even some tropics. Are there any tropical activity going on out there, Jake?
Just a little bit, Jordan, but not anything going on in the Atlantic, which is, of course, a welcome sight for us. Here's our quick tropical update for you, and we're going to start off with this day in tropics history. The last time we had an active storm on November 9th was actually last year, Tropical Storm Kate. You may remember Tropical Storm or Hurricane Kate back in the 80s, of course, is one of the storms that did quite a number to the Tallahassee area. Of course, this is a different storm. It was a Category 1 when it hit, so they never retired Kate. In 2009, Ida strengthened into a Category 2 hurricane, and once the storm went extratropical, it eventually turned into one of those nor'easter systems that you see bringing quite a lot of rainfall and high winds to parts of New England here. So let's recap the hurricane season with our names so far. We've gotten to Hurricane Nicole. It's been about a month since we've had really an active storm out in the Atlantic, which is, of course, a welcome sight, and nothing in our immediate future as well. We're not going to be seeing Otto anytime, at least for the next 5 days out here. Here's your hurricane climatology for the month of November, and a lot of the fuel out in the open Atlantic is pretty much gone at this time of the year. So what you're going to be seeing here is a lot of these storms, typically small, firing up in the Caribbean Sea and pushing over areas of the Bahamas. Areas like Bermuda could, of course, get in on some of the fun. However, again, nothing really going on right now. Here's your sea surface temperatures, and of course, we're in November, but the waters are still fairly warm, largely around the 80-degree mark across much of the Gulf and the Atlantic coast, at least near the United States. However, these are much cooler than they were a couple of months ago, and we had some temperatures cracking the 90-degree point in near Tampa and areas like that, other areas of the Gulf of Mexico, about as warm of seas as we've had in really recent history. For now, though, the Atlantic is fairly quiet. Some convection just east of the Lesser Antilles. However, a very calm pocket of weather, of course, situated along this high-pressure system that's off the east coast of Florida. So really shutting down any potential for tropical cyclone development out there. So the next 5 days, at the very least, are looking very clear. Here we have one wave out in the Pacific that we're watching. We're giving this a 30% chance of development in the next few days. Going to be moving off towards the northwest, with entering an environment with some pretty strong wind shear. So we're not expecting anything too crazy with this, nor any land impacts as well. So again, pushing off towards the northwest, and it'll eventually dissipate once it goes into some of those cooler waters up north. So that's all for your tropical update. I'm going to hand it off to Megan now. We're going to go back into the United States.
All right, thank you, Jake. So looking at our golf index, I am happy to say we are at a 5 for all of us that want to go out there and golf. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be sunny with a light breeze, absolutely pristine for all of us going out there and hitting a few holes with some friends. Our Thursday night football, Ravens versus Browns. I'm a Ravens fan. If you're a Browns fan, don't talk to me. In Baltimore, it's going to be beautiful weather, 54. Thursday night around 8:30, we're going to see kickoff. It's going to be a beautiful night for everyone out there in the stadium watching that game. Boston College, who are we playing Friday? It's going to be them. I have some friends up in Boston. I know they've been experiencing some beautiful weather. High yesterday and today, 62 and 62, so can't complain up there. Their team coming down here for some FSU football. FSU versus Boston College at Doak Campbell Stadium, Friday at 7:30. It's going to be kind of cloudy, around 64. It's going to be a beautiful night. Everyone out there going to watch our Noles play. But taking a look at our 5-day forecast, we're seeing some sun earlier on in the week, but some sun earlier on in the week. Sorry about that. But as we progress to Sunday and Monday, we're seeing some higher rain chances. Hopefully, going to bring us some rain because we have experienced a bit of a dry spell, and we do need that rain for shrubbery and everything like that to avoid drought conditions. But 52s, 49s, 44s is our low, peaking up into the mid to upper 60s. Pretty beautiful. So sending it back to the desk. Here we go. Sorry.
Oh, thanks, Megan. Right now, let's go ahead and look at the current conditions around our nation today. Starting to see that moon creep its way in, and that is due to the daylight savings. Right now, under Tallahassee, we're looking pretty cool right now, starting to cool off rather quickly as we head into tonight. We're going to see a forecast later on about that. 68 degrees here in Tallahassee. Pretty cool throughout most of the nation, too. 65 here in Dallas, Texas. 63 in Albuquerque. Even out in the desert, it's pretty cool out there. If you want to head up Salt Lake City, it's going to be 64 up there. Phoenix being the hot spot just because they are the desert, about 84 degrees under the current conditions right now. Current dew point around the region, you could spot the trough of where that cold front just pushed its way through, bringing much drier conditions to the southeast. 37-degree dew point in Atlanta, 41 in Memphis. Still staying a little high around New Orleans, 60-degree dew point there, and about 61 over in Miami. And over by the west coast, seems to be very dry as well. 17 degrees in Denver and 26 over in Albuquerque. Here's your 24-hour temperature change, starting to warm up throughout much of the north Midwestern region of the nation. About +3-degree temperature difference in Minneapolis as we saw at this time yesterday. +7 over in Denver and +3 over in Billings. As you head over to the East Coast, you're going to start to see where that cold front pushed its way through. Starting to see a 3-degree difference in Memphis as we did yesterday at the same time. Detroit -8 and Washington, D.C. about -3. Here's our beautiful looking surface map that we brought to you by Jake. We have a low pressure system sitting just over the Gulf, bringing some rain and a lot of clouds to our region. No measurable precipitable rain over here in Tallahassee, sadly, because we do need that rain. But for our southern counties and western counties, they are starting to see a good amount of rain. There's that cold front starting to push its way through, bringing us a lot cooler conditions as you head into tonight. High pressure is dominating the Midwest right now. Much nicer conditions over there, and there's our low pressure system, as always, over by Seattle. Watches, warnings, and advisories. It looks like a little coloring book out there. Let me just point out what I have here. We have frost warnings and even some freeze watches over in the Midwest, over into Tennessee, Iowa, and Arkansas, as that cold front did push through and is probably going to freeze even some of their crops over there. We do have a couple of small craft advisories and gale warnings as we head into the Gulf Coast. Airport delays, not much to talk about, 0 everywhere. New York was grounded earlier today, but no airport delays to report as of right now. Here's your winds at 30,000 feet. It's the jet stream. We have this trough dominating the Midwest, so we're not going to expect to see any kind of conditions like that. But the polar jet is going to start to move into our region, or move into the northwest region. There's a subtropical jet starting to move its way through. Tonight's forecast, starting to see a lot of the blues, 40s and 30s throughout much of tonight. And tomorrow's forecast, I like to call, if you point out the east, it's going to be the Sunshine Nation. Beautiful skies and beautiful temperatures throughout much of the nation for tonight. But for now, let's go ahead and take it back to Matt Reagan. He's standing by at the desk. Matt, what you got for us?
Jordan, thank you very much for showing us the sunshine southeast part of the nation. It's kind of cool to see all the sunshine come in there. That's primarily due to that high pressure system that is going to be building in over the next couple of days. And why do we always see these drier conditions with high pressure? Well, usually in a low pressure system, due to a lot of atmospheric dynamics, shout out to everyone who's got the atmospheric dynamics test tomorrow, low pressure, usually you're going to see converging air towards the center. Converging air means a lot of air coming together. And as you get air coming together, well, where does it have to go? It goes up. So in the atmosphere, usually you like to see storms develop when you have rising air within the center of a low pressure. Conversely, in the center of a high pressure, or even in the whole area of a high pressure, you have a lot of sinking air. And when you have that sinking air, usually you see those storms, they're not as prominent. So you'll get those areas where it's very dry conditions across much of the region, and as well as kind of the cooler conditions too, because you get that high pressure building in. So there's a stark contrast between the low and the high, but the basics of it is whether or not that air is converging, coming together at the center, rising towards the middle, or diverging, where it's kind of sinking and moving out. So there's your little atmospheric dynamics in a nutshell for the day. That's the Spark Notes version. We can go into greater detail later on, but for now we're going to be sending it back on out to the wall, back to Dylan, to give more around Florida.
Hey, I'm glad I don't have a dynamics test tomorrow. That was a good lesson, though, if I had to take the exam tomorrow. But let's look around Florida, though. My home state of Florida, we're seeing great temperatures outside. Not a single 80 on the map. Sitting colder at the top part of the state, 66 in Pensacola, 68 in Tallahassee, 66 in Jacksonville. We can see down in my home city of Miami, 76, but not a bad state to be in right now because it's just beautiful. Looking at that relative humidity, though, you can see that cold front up here. You can see all that dry air behind the cold front coming in. And you can see that relative humidity in Tallahassee, 57. And we're gonna look a little over into it. Our rainfall in the Panhandle, though, you can see yesterday, we only saw a little bit. We need that rainfall because, like other people have mentioned on the show, we've been under kind of a drought on that border region. Our crops need it. Just a lot of shrubbery needs it. Grass, I've seen on Landis, some of the grass is dying around campus. So we would definitely benefit from some of this rain, but it hasn't come in yet. Current winds, though, seeing variable different winds. See 9 miles per hour from the southeast in Miami, 3 from the west in Jacksonville, 9 from the north in Tampa. Just very different, but not a lot. Looking at that water vapor, you can see that high-level water vapor comes in and is affecting our area right now. But you can see as we move in later today, all the way at the top, you can see that little bit of orange peeking its way in and wanting to come in and bring that dry air that's coming with that front. That front obviously sitting over us right now, but it's going to bring more dry air from that high pressure sitting over in the western part of the country. You can see this storm system associated with that front dominating the western part of the state right now, but not affecting many cities, staying over the water for the most part. It's very nice. But you can see that rain was supposed to come in, but not a lot of very little small drizzles of rain have affected our area and haven't really done much. Futurecast dew point, let's see, I mentioned this earlier. You can see we start off nice, and with that cold front coming through down the coast, you can see that dew point starts to drop, and as we move down the state, it's going to drop a little bit, seeing some different little drops in Tampa, 49 in Tampa, 46 in Orlando, 32 in Tallahassee. It's just going to bring that drier air that we'd like to see at this time, not being very humid because it is fall. Looking at tonight, though, you can see 47 degrees in Tallahassee, 49 in Jacksonville. Colder again at the top of the state, which is lovely temperatures for us, and still lovely temperatures for the southern part in Miami. 65, I know if I was still at home in Miami and it was 65, it'd be great to be outside. 72 in Key West. As we look into tomorrow, though, we can look into tomorrow. You can see those temperatures, 74 in Pensacola, 76 in Tallahassee. Getting a little warmer down in the south, 81 degrees in Miami. So Matt, let's talk about this parade coming up. I've heard there was a parade in Tallahassee this weekend?
There is a parade this weekend. Well, on Friday.
Oh, right.
It is Veterans Day.
Right.
We wanted to touch on what's going on around town, and we've got the information here about that.
Yeah, it starts at 10:45 a.m. and it's on Monroe/Tennessee Street, going by the Capitol building. So if you really wanted to be in that area, that's where you want to be to watch this parade.
It should be. I think it's gonna be a cool parade.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get out there.
Yeah.
It should be a nice day for it.
Well, it's going to be hard to compete with you basketball as a basketball fan. I don't know. I got to decide.
Well, you go out there, support the veterans. I know
Yeah.
it should be nice. One of our
other meteorologist brother is actually going to be in the parade as part of a band.
Yeah, some local marching bands you'll see in there, and it'll be a great time, a good time to honor the veterans here on Veterans Day.
Yeah.
For now, though, we're going to wrap this show up with our last local with Jordan.
Thanks so much, guys. Love to say this. Not often you are very happy about saying we are below average, but we are below average in our temperatures for today. Today we hit a high of 74. Our average is about 75. Our lows are slightly above average as well because of that cloud cover that we had over the past couple of days. We're at about 62 when we're supposed to be about 49. But we are going to start to see more seasonable temperatures as we head later into the forecast, especially into the next coming couple of days. Current temperatures around the Big Bend, starting to see some high 60s and low 70s throughout our region. 68 right now in Tallahassee, 71 in Monticello. Thomasville being the cold spot just where that cold front passed through. 61 degrees is our reading right now. Bainbridge being about 64. right about now. And Apalachicola, a little bit cooler too, about 66 degrees. I like to play Spot the Cold Front, and here with our dew point graphic, you can certainly spot that right here. It's draped right over about the St. Mark's area and just north of Perry. You start to see those drier conditions associated with the lower dew points. 52 degrees right now is our dew point in Tallahassee, 52 in Thomasville. As you head up north, it is certainly drier where that cold front just moved through. 43 in Bay Bridge and 44 in Mariana. 24-hour temperature change. We're starting to see a large decrease in these temperatures over the next couple of days. -4 over Tallahassee. That's what we saw just about this time yesterday. -5 in Thomasville, -5 in Valdosta. So lower temperatures starting to dominate throughout our region. Here's our satellite and radar. Those storms were peeking its way through our region. Just hit about the southern counties, southern and westernmost counties of our viewing area. So sadly, no precipitable rain that we could measure here. But we are going to start to see those clouds moving out through our region throughout tonight, and then going to start to see a beautiful 3-day weekend heading your way. Here's your futurecast winds and temperatures. Right now, variable and calm winds as that cold pressure starts to move its way through. We're going to start to see a large northerly flow, even some blues popping their way through as you head into tonight's hours. That northerly flow is pushing that cold front farther south and going to start to cool off the rest of Florida from these unseasonably hot temperatures. Here we go, going into your Friday morning. They start to move more northwesternly flow, but that is to be expected this time, and it's going to maintain like that as you head into your Veterans Day weekend. Tonight's forecast, we're going to say about 47 degrees. That dry air is going to start to move in, and there's a northerly wind at about 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy, and those clouds will be starting to move out as you head into the day. Thursday's forecast, temperatures are just around average, 75 here in Tallahassee, 74 in Monticello, and those winds are going to stay out of the north at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Planning your Thursday, perfect for a run at around 8 a.m., but it's going to quickly warm up as you head into your afternoon hours. Going to be nice and sunny at about 73 by about 5 o'clock. Here's your week ahead. Nice over the next couple of days. Starting off your weekend, very nice. Starting to see more measurable rain chances starting to hit our region starting next work week. But for now, let's head back to the desk where we're going to close off the show, where Dylan and Matt are standing by.
Thank you, Jordan. I just want to get a second to sink our teeth into this 7-day because
it's a beautiful start, but looking in later, not so beautiful.
Yeah, we get the rain. Here it is. Here,
yeah, you can see starting off that weekend clear, but that cloud cover and rain picks up on Sunday, moves into the week.
Yeah, the cloud cover's coming back, but I'm just happy to see that our temperatures are back to where they should be this time of year.
Yeah, definitely around average temperatures now. Not hitting any records or close to records. It's going to be great.
We'll get rid of the record stuff, get the high pressure to build in, and really have a great 3-day weekend. I'm excited for the 3-day weekend.
I'm definitely excited. Glad I don't have class on Friday. Can sleep in, actually do some work, be very productive this weekend.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can like us on Facebook, at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
You can also catch us on Twitter at FSU Weather, livestream.com/FSU Weather. You can catch us anywhere you want, especially anytime, and Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. You always got to mention that Instagram. Jake loves that Instagram.
Yeah, we got to give the Instagram some love. So if you got any pictures, some cool stuff, send them our way, and we'll feature them on the Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. I might submit a picture this week. I got something interesting in my pocket.
Oh, well, there's some cool sunsets out there, but for now, same time, same place tomorrow.
Same time, same place tomorrow. Can't wait to do it.
All right, good night, everyone.